Alright, y'all know what it is. Y'all know what it's worth. Let's get this merch. Subscribe to the PDH Network. Alright, y'all see what's going on here? As y'all see the thumbnail, y'all read the title under the thumbnail. Yeah, man, this video today is dealing with your guy J.Prince Jr. and his mob ties affiliates, and how his whole checking in policies is the reason why TakeOff and Duke093 got set up in H-Town, man.
See, folks gotta understand, it's not just the whole checking in policy that J.Prince Jr. tried to establish. It's him not standing on what he speak on. And what I mean by that is, yeah, you can have a whole checking in policy all you want, but if the guys that you told to check in with you don't make it back home to their family, then what you standing on? Now, at the same time, I told you guys before that it's some guys from H-Town who speaks on the fact that there's some folks associated to J.Prince Jr. mob ties who don't respect J.Prince Jr. So this the reason why what happened with Duke093 and TakeOff went down the way it did. Because a lot of people already knew LilCam5th, he was moving how he wanted to. Yeah, he would pop up to these events with J.Prince Jr., but at the same time, he'll be moving on his own accord. And that right there is what I'm speaking on. Because a lot of people know that LilCam5th, he's the youngest that's associated to J.Prince Jr. mob ties. So it's people speaking on the fact that, man, you got this young dude out here at dice games and out here getting caught with blickies. Come on, man. You could be doing something way more productive with LilCam5th for itself in the city of Houston. But you're not. You're doing the opposite. So again, you got people losing respect for J.Prince Jr. for what happened with TakeOff and Duke093 and for what he put LilCam5th through. Because we all know LilCam5th, he doing this to try to gain some type of respect from J.Prince Jr. Because he want to live the same life that J.Prince Jr. is living. You understand? He wants somebody to aid and assist him to do better in life, not to do the opposite, man. So I'm telling y'all, it's not just what happened with Duke093 and TakeOff or LilCam5th. It's the whole situation, man.
At this time, there's people out there losing a lot of respect for J.Prince Jr. and his mob ties guys. Because the people were saying that if you was the one putting it out there, that these guys had to check in, but you didn't have their backs. What's really going on out there with J.Prince Jr. and his mob ties guys? Because what happened with Duke, he's a jeweler out of Chicago. He was not a street cat. Same thing went for TakeOff. He was not known to be in the streets. Matter of fact, he was known to mind his own business. And he was always more family oriented. That's the reason why you guys would rarely see TakeOff at any functions with Quavo. You know, Quavo, he'll be here, there, you know what I'm saying? Especially with J.Prince. Because Quavo and J.Prince, they was once tight. Now, I don't know if Quavo is feeling some type of way towards J.Prince for what happened to his nephew. But again, at the same time, I'm letting you guys know that J.Prince and Quavo, they was always popping up to each other functions. But again, TakeOff, he wasn't that guy.
And I don't know if what happened to TakeOff drew a wedge between those two guys. Even though at the same time, it's known that J.Prince, he had been left the event before TakeOff had got set up.
So again, going back to the whole checking in thing, there's a lot of people out there questioning J.Prince Jr. and his mob ties guys. Because what happened with Duke093 and TakeOff being at some dice games that J.Prince Jr. had set up. That right there has people questioning the moves of the associates that's connected to J.Prince Jr. mob ties guys. You understand? And one of those guys, yeah, we see was LilCam5th. That LilCam5th, who's associated to the mob ties, was the one who allegedly got something to do with TakeOff and Duke093's untimely demise. Now, before we get into it, as always, let's first pay our respects and say rest in peace to TakeOff, condolences to his family, and much love to all my folks in the ATL. Quavo, Offset, Lingo, y'all stay up out there, my G's. Same thing goes for Chicago's own Duke093. Rest in peace to Duke093, condolences to his family, and much love to all my folks in Chicago. See, the thing is, it wasn't always looking this way for J.Prince Jr. Just a few months ago, it was all looking good for him, especially pertaining to when he signed Finesse 2 times. Yeah, man, I know that he signed Finesse 2 times about a year and a half, 2 years ago. But again, he had to wait for Finesse 2 times to get out of jail to do shows, go on tours, do all the things with him now that he's doing. Because again, he was being loyal to Finesse, you know what I'm saying? He didn't play him. Because we all know Finesse 2 times, he ain't finna let nobody play him. Especially if J.Prince Jr. had promised him a few things. pertaining to him leveling up in the rap industry. And we all see Finesse 2 Times, he's doing his thing out there. He got his foot on the gas and he ain't letting up. So again, based on the moves of Finesse 2 Times, it made J.Prince Jr. look good. It placed him in a better spotlight because a lot of folks was like, man, Finesse 2 Times, he's a real one. A lot of people in ATL, Houston, Memphis, his hometown, they have a lot of love and respect for Finesse 2 Times. So when they seen that J.Prince Jr., he was really putting them on, a lot of people started bagging up J.Prince Jr. You feel me? And along with that, of course, the fans, they bagging up the mob ties because they seeing they ain't doing no BS out there. This is just a few months ago when Finesse 2 Times was getting out of jail. Everything was going cool. You know what I'm saying? Even with Finesse 2 Times, it made it seem like J.Prince Jr. linking back up with Moneybagg Yo, it made it seem like he was the one that set that all up. When Finesse, he was going to do that himself anyway because he has history with Moneybagg Yo, not J.Prince Jr. You feel me? But again, I'm speaking on the fact that the moves of Finesse 2 Times, it placed J.Prince Jr. in a bigger, more respectable spotlight, especially compared to what's going on now. Now, a lot of people are not respecting J.Prince Jr. or his mob ties guys because a lot of people are still saying, hey, you supposed to have TakeOff back and Duke the Jeweler. Two very young, prominent black men, businessmen. Again, we all see they had a future ahead of them because they weren't into no BS, man. This the reason why a lot of people were saying, hey, J.Prince Jr., you shouldn't have had LilCam5th around, especially if you know he's always itching to up that blicky. Now, if that was his job duty, based on you telling him if anybody busts a move to up the blicky, then he was only doing as he was told. But it's still people questioning the fact that why is LilCam5th up in the blicky anyway? If everybody in that building knew of each other and supposedly had respect for one another, that was not supposed to happen. You understand? And that's real talk. So the reason why I'm bringing that up, because like I stated, these are the reason why a lot of people is not respecting J.Prince Jr. and his mob ties guys. And along with that, they may not be around too much longer. And that's real talk, man. Because again, they not being seen as somebody who really represents what they speak on. They speak on organization, unity, and protecting one another. But we seen that TakeOff and Duke the Jeweler, they got the least amount of protection while not being involved in no mess. That don't even make sense. Now we understand if they was involved in some BS, then you'll take a step back. But then again, if you fast forward, dealing with what happened with TakeOff and Duke the Jeweler, a lot of storylines and narratives was placed out there. But it had nothing to do with J.Prince Jr. or his mob ties guys. Matter of fact, what happened with TakeOff, they tried to make it seem like it was Migos bands, if y'all remember the story. But then when it came out that it wasn't Migos bands, that it was LilCam5th, they said LilCam5th, he got blicky down. That wasn't true. Then they stated he was on a run. That wasn't true. Then all of a sudden, he ended up getting turned in. Come on, man. And then what happened with Duke? I told you guys that everybody was placing what happened with Duke on Boosie. I'm letting you guys know all this to state that somebody was out there controlling the narratives, and the storylines. And once people got the real footage and the real information pertaining to what happened with Duke the Jeweler and TakeOff, the main people who was around was J.Prince Jr. and his mob ties guys. So that right there, everything I just broke down to you guys pertaining to J.Prince Jr. and his mob ties affiliates, this is the reason why the more people start losing respect for those guys, they may not be around too much longer. Even to the fact that they pops, J.Prince, he had to put out there himself that, no, he's not mob ties. That's his sons. But again, everything the sons is doing, the people are going to question you, the pops. You feel me?
Because a lot of people out there is questioning, why is J.Prince Jr. out here moving like that? Now I told y'all, his brother Jazz, he don't get into no type of street or criminal activity. But again, you can't establish a whole check-in policy when the people around you don't respect you, and you're not making sure that TakeOff or Duke the Jeweler made it back home to their families. Come on, man.
Y'all stay tuned for these updates dealing with J.Prince Jr., TakeOff, and Chicago's own Duke the Jeweler. Because the pops, J.Prince, he tried to pull one over on us. But we got more in store. But as always, Y'all know what it is. Y'all know what it's worth. Let's get this merch. Subscribe to the PDH Network.